1. And of course, questions in the chat, all that stuff, we are here and available for y'all. Thank you. Appreciate that. I feel like I should put some like music on or something. It's just going to be quiet. If you want music, you're going to listen to music. I don't need to play it for you. That'd be distracting. Switch between the main README and my profile one. So let me think. If you want to switch, do you mean between branches? Unknown user. If you mean branches, yes, perfect. Okay. Yeah, so down here, if you're in the web editor, down here where you see whatever branch you're working on, you click that and it shows you all the branches that you have access to in here. And then you just click on the other branch and it moves you to the other branch. Okay, link to the schedule for the rest of today. We're going to be finishing this session at about noon, so you're going to be working for the next 20 minutes or so. Then I'm going to come back, wrap up, finish up our session, and then after that we have lunch starting at 12 noon till 1, and then we come back at 1 is when the room opens, but the next session starts at 1:30 p.m. Pacific time. And just so everyone's clear, it is 11:09 a.m. in Pacific time right now. So we're going to be here for another hour or so. You get to go have lunch for an hour. And then when we come back at 1:30, I'll be doing GitHub 102. So I don't have a link to the schedule, unfortunately, but that's the rest of today. I already have a GitHub account. Am I supposed to be opening a repository to edit my README file? So in this way, you're creating a repository for your Profile Readme. And if you're a little behind, that's totally fine. These are the, nope, not that. Sorry. This is the link to the Profile Readme. If you're doing GitHub 102, like if you're the kind of person who likes to speed ahead and get a lot of stuff done, GitHub 102 is going to be creating and solving a merge conflict right here and using issues in projects. If you want to try those activities, those are there if you're looking to move a little bit further. But if you're the type of person that already has a Profile Readme, if you want to explore other stuff, you can inside of the GitHub 101 activities. But 102 is going to be a little bit more lecture later on too. So for the person who asked, am I supposed to be opening a repository to edit my README files? Yes, you're creating a new repository specifically for a Profile README. And it's very specific instructions. You have to make sure you follow these instructions here exactly. Relationship between repo, branch, and commit. Absolutely. So imagine a repo as the folder in which all of the files for a project live. So let's imagine it's a website. All the HTML, all the CSS, all the JavaScript, all the files that you need, all the everything you need to make the website work is inside of a repository. So imagine it's a big folder. There are two types of repositories. There's a local repository, which is on your computer, and there's a remote repository, which is somewhere online, usually GitHub. The remote repository stores the code and has a bunch of tools on it that you can work on it. And the local repository is just a folder with the code in it. But these two places talk to each other, and you are making changes locally and moving it to the remote repo. And when changes are put up there by other people, you're pulling down their changes to your local. So the local and remote repo talk to each other a lot, constantly. Inside of each repo, you can create branches. The most important branch is main. The main branch is the code that makes the website work. And I'm going to go ahead and head back to that Firefox. So when we're looking at this repo, all of these files on main, you can see the branch we're on right here is main. All of these files is what makes Firefox, Mozilla Firefox work. That's what makes it work. If you look at other branches, there's going to be lots of different changes inside of there. And in this case, we won't really be able to see too much of those changes because there's so many files that are different. We won't know what the changes are, but you'll see that these branches are a certain number of commits ahead of and behind main. But the main branch is what makes the code work. The reason you make a new branch is because on the new branch, you are making changes to the code. And if you make those changes to the main branch and then deploy it, your users who are using your website are going to have a bad time because you haven't tested the new code. There might be bugs. There might be unintended features released. And so the main branch, you always have to think of it as being like, whatever code is there, that's what people get when they go to your website. So you don't want to break that. You don't want to mess with that unnecessarily. And so you make a branch and you do all of your work on that branch and you add what are called commits to the branch. A commit is I've made some changes to the file, I've saved the file, and now I want to make sure that this version of the file as it exists right now lives on that branch. And so you commit it to the branch, and that's a very specific command as a commit. After this work session, after at 11:30, we're actually going to go through and we're going to make a commit to the new branch that we created. So a repo holds everything. A branch is a copy of the code kind of moved off to the side a little bit so it's safe to work on. A commit adds changes to a specific branch. I hope that helps. And thank you, Morgan. Our schedule is in the teacher toolbox. You can just click that link and it'll show you the rest of our schedule.
Hey, VJ, there's a couple of questions in the Q&A.
Yes, let me get to those. Thank you for the reminder.
Pop over there, yeah.
All right, it appears that PJ's editor is VS Code. Pressing period did not open the web editor. It said it's an in-web editor within the GitHub site with preview code and plain text. Interesting. For that question, what happens when you go to, and I'll type it in here too, what happens when you change github.com to github.dev? So that'd be my question is like, if the period is taking you somewhere strange, which, oh, that's very interesting. Try and just go to github.dev/your username/username. Let me see. It's an in-web editor within the. Perhaps it's. Let me do this real quick. Profile. That should still be this. Okay, good. Is it? This? Yeah, so if you click the file, it takes you there. That's interesting. Got it. Okay, so go click code and make sure you're on this page and then hit period. That should get you to the web editor. But if you just change .com to .dev, that should help as well. And that was for, who was that? For Derek. Okay, and how do we commit into the file we edit? Is it auto-committed with the web editor? Also, we need to merge into main branch for the profile change to be in effect. Yes, Ilkner, I don't know that you needed GitHub 101. You know this. Okay, so how do we commit? Actually, if you're the type of person that likes to work ahead and you're ready to commit after you've been editing, there is a stage and commit your changes section in the instructions. You can follow those, but I will be going over those at 11:30 for those who are still working. So the commit and the merge and the PR are all still coming. I see verified student accounts, get access to Copilot student. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. 13 or older and more rigorous data for students in the 12th grade. Data privacy agreement for GitHub at school. I see people are addressing that. Love it, love it. How to use it in teaching. That's a great question. We won't really be touching on like specific use cases. However, I've done a lot before where I talk to teachers about how they can use GitHub in the classroom. And I can share resources around that as well. But the teacher toolbox is your best place to find more information about how you can use it in the classroom. Yes, yes, yes. Merge conflicts, project management. I see a lot of things getting answered. I loves it. Blame, answered that. Yeah, looks like I think I've gotten a lot of the questions covered in the Q&A. Sweet. Do, do. Let me see. What am I going to add to mine? Maybe I'll put a little bit more of a. Let's delete Yakko. Let me see if I can get a new picture. Okay. Let's do that. Let's rename it. So I'm just working on my profile over here too, y'all. PJ Knight. Let's do this. What does this button do? Ah, okay, that works. Teacher account. Interesting. Okay, that works. Yeah, let's clean it up. About 10 more minutes, y'all. We are just working on our profile readmes. adding information about ourselves, adding pictures if you want, highly encouraged. Lots of love from India. Y'all are sweet. Thank you. Hope my clacky keyboard is not too loud into this microphone. Just about 5 more minutes, y'all. Oh. Remember, if you're the type of person that likes to read ahead and jump ahead in the work, the Learn with PJ website has all the instructions you need to finish committing and even through a pull request. So plenty of time if you want to go and do that. But in about 4 minutes, I'm going to walk you all through making a commit, making a PR, merging the PR, and seeing the results after. But if you're the type, again, if you're like me and you're like, ooh, I've got instructions, let me go. You are free to do that. Okay, I'm going to start a timer for 4 minutes. When that timer goes off, we will be back. I'm going to get some more water. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. All right, someone came in the Q&A. Let me check that. Mention the top. We want Copilot Pro for the main sessions. When that upgrade. Lots of meetings and don't want to miss it. For the GitHub Copilot Pro, we had a link, and this is the question that I believe Lane asked. So for Copilot Pro, we have a link you can use that will take you to the settings where you can apply, I believe. Is that correct? Avni or Morgan, I believe I saw that in the chat somewhere. I think we just need to grab that. And the teacher toolbox. Let me find the teacher toolbox. Oh, perfect. Share it again. Thank you, Morgan. And then what was that other question? For Copilot Pro, we have a URL that you can click that that you can click that should help. Let me scroll up and see if I can find that. It's about a minute and a half left. Start wrapping up soon. And I'm going to walk you all through the next steps. Scrolling. It's like all the way at the top. Morgan, Omni, I can't seem to find the URL, the short link that we had created for the for applying for the teacher benefits. If either of you have that, could you throw it in the chat, please?
I got you, PJ. I'll drop it
The
in there in just
best.
a sec.
Thanks, Peeps. Oh, listen, if you didn't get a chance to add an image, that's totally fine. This is just for you to practice and to get used to it. So it's not a thing that like I'm going to make you do anything else. So if you want to do it during lunch, you are more than welcome to do it during lunch. If you want to do it tomorrow, if you want to do it in a few weeks, it's totally up to you. But yeah, totally fine to continue working on this well afterward. However, what we're going to do now is we're going to move forward with the commit. You can always add more commits later. So let's say you haven't had time to add an image or you didn't quite finish your profile readme. That's fine. We're still going to make a commit now. You can add a commit later that updates everything. So remember, a branch can have multiple commits on it in order to make sure that you don't just commit once and then it's over. Okay. So we are back and we are going to be moving on. We just had time for editing your profile readme. And now we are at the stage and commit your changes section of the profile readme work. And I just sent another link that will take you right to the correct section in case you have lost that link or in case you moved around too much. So staging and committing your changes. So in the web editor, which is on the left side of my screen, you can see that I've added a different image now. It's no longer Yakko. I'm no longer complaining about social media and bombarding my brain with, 45 minutes of politics and memes every morning. Now it's just a picture of me standing in front of a GitHub logo. So real quick, I want to let you know in Markdown, this section in the brackets is the alt text, and alt text is really important for people who use screen readers and people who have vision problems. So having the alt text allows them to know what an image is. If you use an alt text reader or a screen reader and there's an image that doesn't have alt text, it just says image. And so someone who might be blind would have like a much worse experience on your website. But the alt text is a great way of describing the picture, and it helps people that are differently abled still have accessibility into using the website as intended. So it describes the picture. I have a relative URL. I created a folder inside of here. None of this was stuff y'all had to do. This was just me making sure I had something that I had changed. I added a new picture of me at a conference. That's me. If I look really tall, it's because I am. I'm 6'6", 2 meters tall for everyone else around the world that doesn't use imperial units, but I wanted to change the picture to something a little more positive. So I've added just that picture at the bottom there, okay? You may notice as you've been changing and doing things, this little icon over here might have lit up with a number. And you can see over here, right here, that number for me is 3. So when you click that, that's the source control button. And that takes you to an area that shows you the changes that have been made to your project files. So first off, you can see Yakko Sad. That was the picture from Animaniacs I had before. That's got a line through it. That's got a D next to it. That's been deleted. You can see pjignite.jpg. That is got an A next to it. That was added. That's a file that's been added here. You can see here readme.md, that's the markdown file ending, has an M next to it. That means it was modified. So I can see exactly what changes have been made to files inside of here. And what we're going to do now is we're going to decide what we're going to do with these changes that have been made and what we're going to include in our commit. So for all of y'all, it's very likely if you haven't added a picture, if all you changed was the README, the only thing you'll see is the README with the M over here. That means it's modified. When you hover over any of these, you'll see there's 3 icons that show up. This one is open the file, and that will open whatever file it is over here. This is discard the changes. So whatever changes you've made, that gets rid of them. And then this plus sign says stage changes. The process for actually committing something is you make the changes, you make sure they're saved, which in this case on the web editor, they're automatically saving. Right? If you were using an editor on like VS Code on your laptop, you have to manually click save file or Command S or whatever to save the file. But in the web editor, automatically saves. So now that it's saved, we need to stage our commits. Staging a commit means when I make a commit, I want this change to be part of the commit. You've got a chance to click that and you say, these are the changes I want actually included in the commit. If you've got a file that you don't want to include in the commit, then you would not stage it. So if I made a commit right now, all it would do for the profile editing branch, all it would do would be deleting the Yakko picture, right? And adding this picture, but the README changes would not commit. This allows for flexibility, and we are going to commit all these, but it allows for flexibility where if you've been working on a lot of things and only some things are ready for the commit, you decide what gets committed. In our case, it's going to be all of this. And one more quick thing to show you, I'm gonna unstage all of these real quick. If you highlight changes and just click the plus sign, everything that's been changed gets staged. So once things are staged, that's when you know you're ready for a commit. Now, inside the web editor, you'll notice this button says commit and push. Let me see. Yeah, the M near it should be that it's modified. In fact, if you click the file, it'll show you exactly what was modified, which is kind of cool. Red means it was deleted. Green means it was added. So when you click here inside of the source control icon, which remember is different from up here. So down here, click source control. And then when you click the file, it shows you what's been removed and what's been added. I'm going to click out of that real quick. So you've got these stage changes now. This commit and push, when I click that, it's going to make a commit and it's going to push at the same time. This is different from working locally. When you're working locally, you just commit. But because we're in the web editor and because we're in our browser, we commit and push at the same time from the web editor. But if you're in a different IDE, or again, if you're working locally or anything like that, you will commit and then you will push after. It's a separate process. But for today, it's one button. Once everything's staged up here in message, this is where you create what's called a commit message. A commit message tells people who are looking at the commit what happened. Commit messages should be quick, but valuable. So in this case, we're going to say, first we're going to learn to spell. Changed picture in Profile Readme and removed section about social media. So in this case, like this message says exactly what we did. But for me, I'm only writing these messages to myself, right? I'm the only one in this repo. So why do I even need commit messages? And this is where I tell you something very important. Future you is not going to remember why you made a commit. Future you is going to look at the changes you made and be like, who did this? And so in your Profile Readme, of course it's not a big deal, right? This is a very simple profile. It's nothing complicated. This isn't code. This isn't a website. Sure, you don't need to be too worried about it. But when you're working on bigger projects, best practice is you always want to have a good commit message. Again, future you will come back to a project and be like, what was he thinking? Why did he do it like this? And if you've got poor messages, that's just going to make it harder. So this is both for when you're collaborating with other people to make it easier for them to know what happened, but also for yourself. It's nice to be kind to our future selves, which is why I drink a lot of water. Okay, everything is staged. I've got a message in here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click commit and push. This will make a commit on the branch down here, profile editing. And it will push it to the repository. So let me click that. Magic. Notice that this no longer has those little numbers on it because there's no more changes. Now, if I go to the Profile Readme and I add something, I'm going to add a G right there, just a single character. Notice that this lights up again. And when I click here, source control, when I click the file, it's like, hey, here's what you added. This line's gone, you added this, and the G is what's really new there. But if I delete the G, and it looks like it used to, Git, right, the software underneath, knows that this file looks the same as the current file in the most recent commit. So Git looks at the file in the most recent commit and looks at what you're doing, and it recognizes the change between the two. Let's go back to our instructions. Scroll down. We have made a commit. We staged it. We click commit and push. Now we have to make a pull request. Remember, in the PowerPoint, the branch section, we've got a branch here. We've got commits we've added to it. We're about to go and change this right here. That's what's about to happen is we're about to go and do this part. To do that in GitHub, you use a pull request. So let me head back to my browser. What you're going to do is you need to go back to your repository page. To get back to your repository page, there's two ways. Either you can go to the back button on your browser and you can just click back until you get back to the repo, or on Arc, I'm not sure about your browsers, but if I hold down the button, it'll show me my recent websites or recent pages I've been to. You can do it that way, click the back button a bunch of times, or down here where it says GitHub, you can click that and you can click go to repository, and this opens a new tab to your repository. Either way, head back to your repository for your profile README, and you'll notice there's a banner right here. It says, hey, this branch, profile editing, had recent pushes 2 minutes ago. Do you want to compare the branch and make a pull request? You can click that and it'll take you directly to a pull request, or you can click the pull request tab up here. And you'll see this again. You can click new pull request. And this allows you to pick the branches you're going to be doing. Now, again, if I just click compare and pull request, it opens up this, it picks this branch and says it's able to merge. But if you prefer to do it yourself, which I don't know why you would, you can pick the branch that you're looking to merge in right here. But let's talk about this right here, this compare changes. This looks a little weird because it's moving right to left. And generally speaking, a lot of the languages in the world tend to go left to right. So if you speak English or any of the Romance languages, or if you read left to right, you're like, this doesn't make sense. I feel like it should move that way. Here's how you have to think of this. This one, the base, is the branch into which you want your changes to show. This branch, the compare branch, is where you want the changes to come from. And so it is this motion. And this is where some people get tripped up. This is called a pull request. You are asking somebody to pull your changes into main. This is the motion. You are reaching out to the right and you are pulling into main. So this is where the changes will go. This is where the changes exist. Okay, we are able to merge this. It says these branches can be automatically merged. Basically, Git looks at this and goes, yep, I can tell what's different here. I can tell what's going to change. You're good to go. Right here, you see a big green create pull request button, but down here, it gives you a little heads up on what's actually going to be changed here, the assets that got added, the things that got deleted, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to go ahead and click create pull request. And that takes me here where that asks for a title. So new picture and new text in profile README. And here you can see that the title was just taken from the commit message I created earlier. And up here, title, just a brief description of what's going on. Here, another description. In this case, we're not doing too much. And again, this is just a very basic pull request. When you're doing more complicated stuff involving code, it's important to describe what's happening inside of here. So a big rule for this is not just what, but why. When you're making a pull request in projects, in real deal like coding projects, it's important to say not just what changes in the pull request. Why is the change occurring? This is the question that a lot of people don't often think about when they're building. They're like, why? Well, because it's what was assigned to me, or it's because of this. But every pull request should say why the changes are happening in order for future developers to understand the reasoning behind that commit and that PR and that merge into main. This allows for you to easily go back and find if there was like maybe a bug got introduced somewhere, or maybe the reason the previous pull request got merged. We're changing why we're doing that, but the why is really important inside of most pull requests. In our case, we're just, adding a new picture and updating the profile README as an example for teachers at the EDU Summit. So add a description. Over here, you can see you can assign people to PRs. Usually, if it's just for you, you can assign yourself. Maybe you're in a project with a bunch of other people and one person is responsible for all the PRs. You would assign them. You can add labels if you want to, and a bunch of other project management stuff we're not worried about. But right here, if you've got a title, you've got a description, you can click Create Pull Request. So this merely creates a pull request. This has not merged anything yet. Now, inside this pull request, you can have conversations with each other. You can chat about what you're doing. You can react to people's comments. That's so funny. You can basically talk and understand what's going on in the PR. Up here on this tab, you can see what the commits are. Up here, you can see the files changed. Again, there's the new picture. Here's the red and green, et cetera, et cetera. And down here, this button, the green button, merge pull request, will actually take the changes from the profile editing branch and put it into main. Right now, if we go to my profile, it's the old profile. There's Yakko. There's this. This is all the old stuff, right? But once we merge this, that's all going to change. And real quick, I want to show you one more way you can see differences between branches. We'll come back to the pull request. This drop-down menu, when it's on main, it shows you what it looks like on main. When you're on profile editing, once it changes over, you'll see there's that assets folder, there's the license, there's the README, and then here's that picture. That picture's huge. I'm going to need to change that size later on. Okay. Let's go back to the pull request. Click into that. And then down here, I'm going to click merge pull request. Once this is done, confirm merge. You get a note, says, hey, pull request successfully merged. The pull request gets closed, and all closed pull requests can be seen right here. You can see open and closed. Open means it hasn't been merged. Closed means either it has been merged or we closed it without merging. But the purple means it's closed and merged. So let's go back to that one we just did, new picture and new text. Come on, don't be slow. There we go. And I'm just going to delete this branch because we no longer need that branch. So now, if I go to my profile, we shouldn't see Yakko anymore. We should see me at Ignite. That is a wild face I'm making there. I'm going to get rid of this picture pretty quickly, y'all. But that is the full GitHub workflow. That's a profile README, but what you really learned today are the important parts of working with GitHub, and that is make a new branch, make your changes, commit those changes, create a PR, merge the PR. And this is the standard workflow that students should be doing every time. You should be making a new branch every time. If you commit to main, there can be unexpected, unintended problems later on, especially if you have other open branches right now. Okay, that takes us all the way through the profile README activity, and that takes us all the way through this GitHub 101 session. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing real quick, and I'm going to check out the Q&A and the chat, see if I can help some people out. I see some Copilot questions. And near README, it says changes. The green button on the right side is called commit, and I need to select if I want a new branch. Sheila, it's possible you were working not in the new branch, that you were working on main the whole time. It's possible. Let's see the V caret on the green button. You have the option to commit and push. Not getting the screen that shows changes. I have the page that lets me create a pull request with a description and can't find the previous one. Are you in github.com or are you in the web editor when you're having these issues? Stuck after the pull. After the pull request. Okay. Let me share my screen again. See if I can catch us up. Refresh that page real quick. Okay. Stuck after the pull. That's Adele. Okay, not getting the screen that shows changes. Page that lets me create a pull request. Yeah, so the pull request page, but can't find the previous changes. Let me see. So if you're looking to make a pull request, when you click new pull request, it shows you the branches you have available. So you want to make sure that you've got the correct branches chosen. And you can see I have several other branches here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to get rid of those to clean that up a little bit. I'm not a fan of all these extra branches around here right now, and I don't need them. I think most of them have been merged. Yeah. Just deleting some branches real quick. See, I got stuck at the poll share screen. How do you share your screen? Yeah, I think we might not have, how do you get to branches? So from code, from this tab, this is clickable and it shows you how many branches you have. Or the drop down also shows you what branches you have, and this view all branches goes to the same place. So it might be that you've been working on main this whole time inside the web editor. I don't, yeah, yes, GitLab calls them merge requests. And that's a good description of what it is. You're asking them to merge it. However, pull request was first, baby. It can be kind of a weird thing to understand, like that's a pull and this is a pull request and they're kind of different. But again, the idea of a pull request was for like collaborating with other people. So essentially you create a pull request for someone else and you're like, hey, so-and-so, will you pull my changes into your repository? So you're requesting someone else to pull the changes into their work. All right, Adele created a branch. Good. So you do have the other branch. You need to check that you made the changes on that branch. And so you can look at your branches and you can, if you're here and you have a second branch, you can click that branch to, let me see, let's make a new branch example. Create a new branch. So from here, you should be able to see if your branch actually looks different from main by clicking between them. Did the pull request, but you can't find the merge. Did you complete the pull request all the way through? Because like once you finish it, it closes it. So do you have a closed pull request or an open pull request? Did the pull request. You see the branch, that's good. Is your icon purple? Have both branches, both are the same. So yeah, yes, once you merge, unknown user who just asked the question, once you merge, both branches look exactly the same. That's what you've just done. You have made main look exactly like the branch that you merged in. Really, you can think of it as like you're replacing the main branch with the version from your new branch. There's a purple line. Good. Purple should mean that you've actually merged it in and your changes should be viewable on your profile now, for Adele's question. I know it's so late for so many of you. I know the Pacific time's a hard time to host something, but we are recording and we will make sure that we send out the recordings. All right. So as long as the changes you've made, you can see in your profile, which again is top right profile. As long as the changes are visible here, you are good. Like that was the goal. We did it. I think, let me check the Q&A real quick. When are active branches not deletable? You can always delete a branch, I'm pretty sure. You just have to be careful about it, because that's sort of the, you can do things that break a repo if you're not careful. So branches, active branches, if you have branch protection rules, so like if you have rules in place, that's something you can do in the settings. So settings, branches, add a branch rule set. So you can add rules that keep branches from getting like deleted and stuff. But you can see the rules here: restrict deletions, restrict creations, block force pushes. There's a bunch of things you can do to make sure you keep your branches clean inside these repos. Okay, I think we got all the Q&A. Free break, can you pull up the schedule? Yes, I can. Let's check out the schedule. I'll share my screen real quick. Wrong screen, and we're going to be seeing some nonsense. Hold on, sorry. Screen 2. Here we go. So this is all in Pacific time. So right now it's 11:57. These times are all in Pacific time. It's 11:57, so we're about to go into our lunch break. So that'll be until 1 p.m. From 1 to 1:30, the virtual room will open up again, and you can come back in. At 1:30 to 3, we're going to be doing GitHub 102. And what we're doing in 102 is merge conflicts, and we're going to be doing project management tools in GitHub. And then we take a quick break from 3 to 3:30, and then 3:30 to 4:30, we're going to be doing agentic learning, a custom skill exercise. And then the last 2 hours of the day is about time to work on stuff with us available to help you. We'll have lots of people around to help. Adele, I'm so sorry that the merge isn't happening. I think I might need to get with you and see if we can figure out a way that I can look at what you're doing. Let me get with my team and see how we might be able to help out and what we might be able to do to help you with the merge and make sure it's happening correctly. It's very likely there's some steps somewhere that was missed. Oh, you did? What happened? Was it you have to tell us what it was for sure. Were you Googling? Did Copilot help? Yeah. Okay. I had to get back to the pull request page, right? Let's see. Yeah. So the pull request tab is always up here. I'm not making a rule right now. And then you have to find it inside of the actual pull request. You have to click on it and get into it. Oh, and my browser just went perfect. There we go. All right. With that, Morgan, Avni, either of you want to come in, or do we just want to go ahead and break for lunch? I'm so glad you figured it out. That's fantastic. That makes me so happy. Yeah, go daughter.
There we are. Hello. So yes, we will go ahead and break for lunch. Thank y'all so much. Oh, I got her. Use GitHub to help me. Oh yeah, go daughter. So yeah, we will break for a little bit, about an hour. The room will open back up, as PJ said, in a little bit. And if there is, like as PJ said, if there are places where you're a little stuck, that's really what our final 2 hours of the day are going to be really great for. PJ will be back. He'll be here to help us, but as will other folks from the GitHub education staff. And we'll have breakout sessions for a couple of different areas that you can kind of like pop into and learn more and ask other questions if you're interested about learning other programs at GitHub Education and GitHub. So yeah, we'll take a little break. Thank you very much, PJ, for kicking us off today with an excellent session. And PJ, thankfully, will be back after lunch. So you'll get more of PJ. Absolutely. Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us now. And we'll be back in a little bit for GitHub 102.
Same room. See y'all soon.
See ya. Same link. Yep. Same link. One link to them all, as I said. Thanks, Al.